Hello, hi. Can you guys hear me? Can people hear me? My friend, could you please tell me in the comment if you could hear me? Good morning, Jane. Just started our live stream today. How's everyone? How are you guys today? How do you find today? Anything special? Feeling happy? Feeling okay? Feeling wet? Just tell me. Yeah. I had a pretty good sleep last night. So I told you guys that right now I have actually started a lot of routine. So somehow those kind of health routine was able to really help me. Morning, yes, we can hear you clearly. Yeah, fine, fantastic. It's nitrous time. Hello, hi, welcome everyone. Okay, yeah. Let me see. Okay, all right. I think we have already set up everything. Okay, so how's everyone? How's everyone? How are you guys doing? How are you doing? I'm doing fine, my friend. I'm doing fine. As a matter of fact, I had a pretty good sleep last night, as I said. It's nitrous o'clock. Look at the cat. That's so funny of you. That's so funny of you. Yeah. I had a pretty good sleep last night. Somehow, like I told you, I shared with you guys before that somehow I started having this like extremely healthy kind of routine every single day, starting from the morning till the moment that I sleep, that I actually do so many things, right? Like rubbing the stomach, right? Doing those Chinese exercise of 八段锦 every day, and also doing some extra like rubbing showed you guys, right? Okay, people have already saw the topic of today, which is about education, right? But it's an era of global elite retreat. Okay, interesting. Hongguan GS Macro, right, from Goldman Sachs Macro. Anyhow, would love to hear your thoughts, okay, Hongguan? Okay, would love to hear your thoughts. So since you are saying that it's a global retreat, a global elite retreat, can you please share a bit more of what you think? Okay, please share more about what you think. Just so you guys know, for anyone who's new in here, just so you guys know, this is a very, very international live stream, and it is supposed to be a very interactive kind of live stream as well. We encourage each and every one of you guys, okay, whoever you are, as long as you have any thoughts, just send it in the comments. We need more discussions. We need more discussions. Just so you guys know, even though I am the only host who's talking in here, so like I said, this is like a family kind of community. Sometimes the comments I see in the comment area is like way, way, way more better than what I'm sharing right now. Okay. So that is why I do encourage each and every one of you to send whatever you think about this topic we're about to discuss today, which is around East and West elite education. Just tell me your thoughts in the comment area. So if there are some really good opinions, I will definitely repeat and share it and here emphasize on that. And also, I would elaborate on that as well. And if there are some very exciting opinions, very interesting opinions, I'd love to have a debate with you guys. I love to have a debate with you guys. It is perfectly fine if you guys hold a different opinion from mine. Usually, I would actually just share with you guys about my opinion, okay? But like, there are so many people out there in the world and diversity of minds, right? So it is definitely for sure there will be people who hold different opinions from mine. So I do encourage people who hold a different opinion to just send your opinion in the comment area. It would be great. We can have some debate, some clash of the minds. You know, that is what's gonna make this live stream to be more interesting, more fun, and potentially will also attract more people to come in to join this kind of discussion with all of us. Okay, with all of us. So, first of all, for those of you who haven't followed me, don't forget to follow me, okay? For those of you who haven't followed me, don't forget to follow me. So, for those of you who are new in here, also just so you know, for our family, for our community, it is the tradition that whenever you start to watch the live, you have to tap the screen to sending likes, okay? You have to tap the screen to sending likes while you watch it. While you watch it, okay? Yeah, I see already there are lots of comments coming in elsewhere. So debates are good, healthy also. Exactly. Debates is like how the reason why in mankind's history we're able to come up with so many things is simply because we welcome different kinds of minds, different kind of opinions, right? Different kind of trial and error. And somehow, because there are so many discussions, so many debates, and that is how we're able to realize, oh, here are the areas of improvements that we need to work on that. And that is how we're able to improve as a human being, as a mankind as a whole. So, welcome all of that, okay? So, I'll stress that again. So, today's topic is around East West elite education. So if you have any opinions, so I saw someone called GS Macro, something like that, Hong Guan Hong or Hong Guan someone. Okay, anyhow, any friend like him or her who has opinion on this kind of topic, no matter you agree with me or disagree with me, that is fine. I welcome any kinds of debate. Okay, I welcome any kinds of debate. Just send your thoughts in the comment area, and that would be good. Okay, that would be good. Or just any questions you have, that is fine. Okay, if you have any questions you want to ask me about the elite education in the West and in the East, just so you guys know. Okay, for many of you guys who do not know my background, so I've actually already touched my background in here as well. So I probably should also add my English background as well so that people would also see it. Where is my English background? Okay, so I added my English background as well. So I have added my background in here and also my English background as well. And also there is also a families followers group in here. So you guys could check it and join in here. And just so you guys know that I attended university here in China. I graduated from Shanghai Jiao Tong University, which is supposed to be one of the top universities here in China. So I've definitely experienced the elite education here in China. And at the same time, during my university years, I did an exchange program in University of Texas in Austin in the US. And after graduation, I also did a master degree in London School of Economics for a master degree. And London School of Economics is supposed to be also an elite school in UK and in the West. So personally, I have actually experienced the elite education in both China and the West, and in two different countries. One is the US and one is UK. So sort of because of this pretty diverse education background, there are many things that I can share around this topic, which is the difference or similarities among between the East and West elite education. So that is going to be the topic today. So if you either you have also experienced the elite education in East and West, or you are planning to attend elite education, or you're planning to have your children to go to those kind of elite education, this is the topic for today. Okay, this is a topic for today, and we will discuss very thoroughly on different aspects about the difference between different education system. So for that is why for those of you who haven't followed me, don't forget to follow me. Okay, don't forget to follow me. Okay. So first of all, let me ask you guys one question. Just like broadly speaking, without knowing anything, okay? Just take a random guess or whatever, or just based on your knowledge. Which one do you consider to be better? The East elite education or the West elite education? Which one do you consider to be better? Which one do you consider to be better? Which one do you consider to be better, the East or the West? Okay, let's do this. Type 1 if you think the East one is better. Type 2 if you consider the West one to be better. So when we talk East and West, let's talk about so maybe about China, Japan, whatever, or maybe China specifically. Okay, let's just compare China's elite education with the Western elite education. Which one do you consider to be better? If you consider China to be better at elite education, type 1. If you consider Western to be better, type 2. Type 2. Eastern or Western, which one do you consider to be better? Okay, no matter you know about it, you if you know about both Eastern and Western education, you could just, based on your knowledge, provide me the answer of this survey. Let me see. Could you please open the notice board where we can elaborate a little bit more? Let me see. Okay, how to open the notice board? Notice board. What is notice board? Okay, I'll check it. 信息卡. Okay, let me check it because Jamie is asking me to open the notice board. How to open the notice board? Oh my god, I'm so confused with this. Mm. But I haven't any experience about Western education. That is fine. Just based on your understanding, we have all have actually read news or whatever. Just based on your understanding, based on your impression, we're just doing a very broad survey. Okay. So usually you just saw some posts asking you to do a survey on certain celebrity or on certain movie. It doesn't really matter if you know about the celebrity or know about this movie. We are just collecting a general perception. Okay, we're just collecting the general perception from the crowd to see if you guys consider East or West to be better. So while you guys answer this question and do the survey with me, check like how to do this notice board thing. Oh my god. How did you do this notice board thing? Oh my god, why? I'm so confused, but I have seen other people do something like that, which is open up this little note, 什么小纸条，这个咋弄呢？真的是我有点点 confused 啊。有没有宝宝知道这个怎么弄呢？可以教我一下的。我有看到过其他人是有开小纸条的。I have seen other people actually have this notice board, and also people have this kind of a gift thing. Somehow，哦，但是不是在互动里边？但是互动是抽奖啊，也不是啊。群推送啊。Wait, how to do this? Oh my god, I'm so confused. Oh, 信息卡。诶，不对啊。No, it's not right. Wait. Okay, I'm gonna just check a few more times. If seriously not working, then I'm just gonna give up. Or I'll ask Ashu to help me because I previously have seen her doing it, but somehow I seriously do not know how to do that. So confused. Really, really not so good at those kind of setup. Okay, gonna try it a few more time. If it's still not working, we'll just come back to the topic. 信息卡、直播话题、直播预告、任务中心、任务中心吗？也不对，也不是任务中心。Why? Is it because I haven't really upgraded? 数据看板也不对啊，这是数据看板啊。备货单什么呢？啊，真的，我没有看到这。I haven't really seen the notice board. I seriously have to check with them to see it. I don't know. They actually give me lots of suggestion. So right now they actually give me lots of suggestion in terms of, for example, so you need to send some gift to this live stream room. So say for example, ask people to have some lucky draw, something like that. And I have actually been to other people's live stream room and seen people do something, which is okay, you could actually attend this lucky draw by following me. And also, you could only open this lucky draw after how many minutes, something like that, by staying in this live stream for how many minutes. I have tried multiple times. I'm so frustrated. Every time I start this, I do not know how to add a moderator. I do not know how to do those kind of lucky draw, like conditional lucky draw. And also, I do not know how to open this notice board. I have seen other people doing that. I'm pretty sure I can do it too, but somehow I do not see it. Maybe next time. So after the live stream today, I'll definitely need to check with the Red Note officials to ask the team there. They really need to help me because I really tried. I really tried really hard. I have literally just gone through every single button here down below. Somehow I do not see any options like that. Wow. Wow, the first live stream that I found that speaks English. So, well, that is the reason why you need to follow me. I'm so curious. Do you actually understand Chinese, my friend? Will, do you actually understand Chinese? If you do not understand Chinese, how are you able to stay in here and watch all the live stream that speaks Chinese for such a long time? if this is the very first English live stream you are seeing. So, guys, for those of you who haven't followed me, you guys need to follow me, okay? You guys need to follow me, especially for those people who found my live stream to be the very first English live stream, okay? My I was trying to survive. Well, now you know don't need to worry about surviving because this is actually 90% of the time we're speaking here are actually in English. I was actually suggested to speak more Chinese for this live stream because I am 100% Chinese. Somehow, since I started speaking English, somehow I just opened up this English mode and I just don't switch back to Chinese. It's usually when people ask me in the comment, hey, where are you from? Do you actually speak Chinese? Could you please speak Chinese in the comment area? Then I would start to speak Chinese. Yeah. 人工智能这么发达，小红书就不能语音设置吗？啥叫语音设置自动翻译是吗？可能在这个平台上面，他们现在英文主播的数量还不是太多，所以他如果单独去开发这个功能的话，还挺耗成本的。因为我跟大家分享过，我上一次创业就是做的是一个 APP 嘛，去年的时候，去年一整年就做了一个 APP，所以自己创业做过了以后就知道这事儿其实挺难的。I was sharing with you guys my last entrepreneurial startup program was about developing an app, an AI photo portrait, generative AI portrait app, right? And somehow, since I have experienced the entire thing from starting from scratch and how to, build an app from zero till the very last, very developed, very mature kind of app, I have experienced the whole thing, so I know like no matter what kind of feature you want to add into one app, that actually takes a lot of efforts. It was not never just by adding one thing to it. So first of all, you have to observe where you should add this button. So that requires you have some, good UI, UX design. So what is UI UX design? It means like where you want to put on the screen this extra new button and how do you want people or users to use that button, right? It needs to be very user friendly, and also somehow after that, also things like a lot of coding to make sure, right, for example, this button is actually working, and also people's feeling about using this new feature is also good. A lot of things like that. So by adding a simple new feature, it's not so easy. It requires potentially maybe at least a month before you're able to do all that and people are just coming in here to use it. Yeah. Yeah. And there's lots of people here speak English as well. Yeah, exactly. As Jolly said. Yeah, so this is live stream is mostly in English, mostly in English. So for those of you in here, very welcome you. For those of you who haven't followed me, don't forget to follow me, okay? Yeah, user interface, exactly. That is called UI. Yeah, UI is that is called user interface. Yeah. So, okay, back to this topic. I was actually previously asking people to interact with me to do some general survey to see what's people's perception of what, like, which one is better, the Eastern elite education or the Western elite education. The reason why we're talking about this is, first of all, because last 3 days, okay, today is the free day for all the 12th grade students, okay. 所有的高三学生，他们刚刚经历了人生中最重要的3天，他们的这个18岁青春当中最重要的3天。I was saying that the past 3 days are the 3 most important days for all the 12th grade students here in China throughout their 18-year life. The 3 most important days because they just attended the college entrance examination, the very most important exam to decide which university they can attend. Somehow in China, there's a saying that says that, oh, okay, 高考定终身，对吧？ Something like which university you're able to attend after your college or entrance examination is going to determine your life, something like that. So that is why that we focus specifically on topics on education, because this is something we want to discuss. Okay. Yeah. And I need to go back to see what's people's perception on the I was too focused on how to set up all the kind of things, so I was not able to really read the comments provided by people. So I noticed okay, so a lot of people are thinking about like Eastern education to be elite education to be better, but somehow also majority people consider Western elite education to be better. Okay, Western education to be better. You guys want to hear my opinion? Okay. Do you guys want to hear my opinion about which one is considered to be better? Okay, let's do this. If you want to hear me share my opinion, type a smiley face in the comment area. Okay, type a smiley face in the comment area. Just so you guys know that I actually have been to the elite school both in China and also in the West. Like I said before, I attended Shanghai Jiaotong University in the East. Okay, so that is one of the most elite school here in China. And also, I attended two universities in the West. One is University of Texas in Austin in the US, okay, for an exchange program, just one semester. But after I graduated from Shanghai Jiaotong University, I also did a master's degree in London School of Economics. That is also an elite school. So, do you guys want to hear my thoughts on that? Do you guys want to hear my thoughts? Like, what do I consider to be better? The Eastern elite education or the Western elite education? If you want to hear my answer, type a smiley face in the comment area, okay? Type a smiley face in the comment area. Type a smiley face in the comment area. If we see enough of the smiley face, we're going to do one thing, which is I will share from my experience personal experience perspective, which one I consider to be better. Okay, which one I consider to be better? The Eastern education. So I'm gonna judge specifically from Shanghai Jiaotong University, compare that with the Western one. Okay, the Western one, which is London School of Economics, as well as University of Texas in Austin. Okay, I do not see a lot of smiley face. Okay, guys, more smiley face. You want to hear me answer that question? UK cannot represent Western elite education. That is your opinion, right? So I agree with you in the sense that one single university cannot really represent the entire Western or Eastern education. So I'm just going to using the kind of the university that I personally have attended as a representative. Even though I kind of agree with you that we cannot say that one specific university could represent the entire Western elite education, but somehow those kind of system does show something. Okay, does show something. For example, when I attended the university in Texas in Austin, just so you guys know, some people might probably argue that UT Austin is not considered to be the very, very elite school. Just so you know that back then when I studied there, I studied accounting. I studied accounting in University of Texas in Austin, UT Austin. Not so sure about the ranking today. Pretty sure it's still pretty high. But back then in my years, UT Austin's accounting was ranked number 1 in the entire US. Okay. UT Austin, University of Texas in Austin, their accounting major was ranking number 1 back in my years. So for my department, back then, the major I was studying during my exchange program, that was definitely considered to be the elite school. Okay. And also later on, I did a master's degree in London School of Economics, LSE in short. So LSE is definitely considered also to be an elite school. Okay. So, okay, guys, follow me, please, if you haven't done so. For those of you who haven't followed me, please do so. And also, just so you guys know, for our new family members, you're new in here. We have this tradition. You have to keep on tapping the screen to sending likes. Okay, you have to keep on sending likes, tapping the screen to sending likes in this live stream room. Okay, yeah. So first of all, you guys, for those old followers, you guys know me. To answer this question, which one is better? The Eastern using Shanghai Jiaotong University as the representative, or the West using UT Austin or LSE as the representative? Which one is considered to be better? I never answer this question with an absolutely yes or no. To answer that question, we first need to define what is considered to be better. What is considered to be better? I'm playing a little bit trick with you, all of you guys, right? Because when I ask you guys, oh, which one do you consider to be better? I just ask it. But when I really answer it, first of all, we need to define what is considered to be better. Okay, what is considered to be better? So there are multiple attitudes we need to use to compare what is considered to be a better education or not. Okay, so for going to university, a majority of people would go to university to do one thing, which is to study. So first of all, we'll definitely need to compare about the quality of study. Okay, the quality of study 这是干嘛？无语的小峰，认真看一下哈。我今天都已经把这个 live intro 把这个 topic 给罗列出来了。如果如果是平常的时候进来这个直播间不知道在干嘛的话，还情有可原啊。 今天还来问说这是在干嘛？这实属不应该，因为今天都已经把今天的 topic 给写出来了，给写出来，而且在右上角还把我的这个一些背景信息也都罗列出来了，所以今天应该是指向性非常明确哈，今天应该指向性非常明确。这是在干嘛？我们今天在讨论的是，不知道的同志们啊，我们今天在讨论的是中西方的精英教育的差别。OK，so there are a friend asking what are we doing right in here. I was basically saying I have already added live intro and also on top right corner in here I also added some background and self intro. So if you guys still feel clueless about what this live stream is about, then I have nothing else I could do. Okay. So just so you guys know, today we're discussing about a topic which is around the difference between the similarity or difference, the comparison between the East and West elite education. Okay. So the reason why I'm able to discuss about that is because my personal background is from, the elite education in both East and West. I have repeated multiple times. But since there is a friend asking me about it, what's this live stream about? So I'm going to say it again. So I graduated from Shanghai Jiaotong University, which is considered to be one of the elite university here in China. And also I did my an exchange program in UT Austin studying accounting as well as a master degree in finance in LSE. So that is the reason why I could discuss about this topic, which is to compare the difference between the East and West education system. So I was saying that the very first thing I will have to discuss is definitely to compare the education quality, the study quality, the research quality, well, I wouldn't say research quality. It's basically the education, the how the teacher teaches the students and how students are able to study different subjects. Okay, different subjects, something like that. Okay. So that is going to be the first perspective that we're going to compare East versus West. Okay, so a basic conclusion to that, in my opinion, when it comes to quality of studying or like the how hard it is to study, if it's very hard to study the subject or it's not so hard to study subject, it's hard to compare unis that use different academic systems. Yeah, so that's why we're going to break down. Okay, we're going to break down to small tiny pieces, different angles to compare. Okay, so I would say when it comes to how hard it is to study in different universities, I consider it to be harder to study in UT Austin and in LSE. And I also hear that from other students who also studied in those elite schools in the West as well. They also consider like studying in the Western elite school actually to be harder then I like my uni because the Oxbridge system. Yeah, share more. Louis the cat, share more, okay? Because back then you told us, you share with us. So just so you guys know that this is a pretty very high quality community. So we have like a lot of people in here who have attended like really elite education as well. Like for example, here gonna introduce Louis the cat in the common area. So she personally studied maths and physics during undergrad degree, and also later on also pursue degrees in neuroscience and also psychology. She also personally know 5 or 6 different languages, and in here, Nytrix 今天你的演讲，请加入一些 debate 的元素。想学怎样准备 debating 好的，我想一下怎么去弄一下哈。OK，可以的，我尽量这么来一下哈，尽量这么来一下，没问题。那个 Christie，那个如果这个里边你有什么样更多的想法，有一些建议啊，或者是不是我讲的方向不是你想听的方向，你也可以在评论区告诉我哈。我没有完全理解你的意思，我按照我的理解先来试试看，好吧？如果说没有按照你的这个意思走的话，你在评论区里边多跟我讲一下，你实际想要我怎么样去阐述哈，可以更好的帮助到你，好吗？Okay, guys, following piece you haven't done so. So I was saying that, so first of all, we can actually just compare from the academic perspective. When it comes to how hard it is to study, personally, in my opinion, I consider in the Western elite school, it is actually harder to study compared to the Eastern like elite school education system. So somehow, Louis the Cat is also correct in the sense that back then in my university, the kind of education system was a little bit different in the sense that back then in my university, I was studying in Shanghai Jiaotong University, and somehow they adopted something which is quite broad education. So in every semester, we had all together 因为今天 topic 可以 debate 一下，选 East or West. Okay, sure, sure, get it. So I was actually, you guys could also debate with me, okay? Anyone, if you disagree with what I'm saying, just send in the comments. I welcome any opinions that is different from mine. Same as mine, different as mine, perfect, fine, okay? I love debating, okay? I love debating. And also, if you guys have any questions, could also send in the comments. So back to this topic. I was saying that, well, back then, first of all, I in my university they adopted the system more like general education. So in the first year and the second year, they actually just ask you to study everything. So they want you to have a little bit touch on everything. And somehow, because you just have a little touch on everything, so for every subject, you just don't dive very deep. You just don't dive very deep compared to the West. They are so every semester I also share with you guys, right? During my university years, I did an exchange program in UT Austin. And somehow when I went there, in the Shanghai Jiaotong University, for every semester, we're supposed to select 10 courses. 每一个学期是应该可以要选10门课10到11门课这样子。我记得 I remember back then in my university, which is Shanghai Jiaotong University, everyone is supposed to pick around 10 to 11 courses at least for one semester. So every semester, you basically have to study so many different lessons. And just because of that, you then do not, like for every single course, you do not dive very deep compared to the West. And so when I first went to UT Austin for that semester, and the teacher said that you're only supposed to select 4 to 5 courses for one semester. And guys, also please tell me in the comment area. I would love to know during your university years how many courses did you study for one semester, or like according to your university system. If you do not remember, I know there are some followers in here who have graduated from university for a long time, but if you know about your university back then, or you have children who are about to attend universities, whatever, like just tell me in the comments area what is the kind of average courses that students need to pick for one semester. Okay, what's the average number of courses that students need to pick for one semester? Okay, I want to know what's the kind of number in now. Okay, so back then in my years, I said that in my university here in the East, in China, in Shanghai Jiaotong University, the kind of courses I need to select for one semester was at least 10, like Christy Little C, like at least 10, right? It's also the case with Christy Little C, right? You guys also do it the same, which is at least 10 courses you need to pick for one semester, right? So guys, also share with me where I need more interaction in here. I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people in here because I could tell there are over 140 people right now online. I'm pretty sure many of you guys have attended university. Just tell me back then in your university years, or like your university right now, how many courses do you guys need to pick for one semester? Just tell me in the comment area. I want to know what's the current situation now. Okay, what's the current situation now? Yeah. 互动，没人跟我互动，好悲伤啊！问了半天，只有 Christy 小 C 跟我互动，都没人跟我互动，太悲伤了。First and second year, I took 6 courses per term and 4 summer courses. Okay, yeah, please interact with me, my friends. Yeah, just tell me, okay, how many courses per semester? How many courses per term? Yeah, do you guys remember back in the university years? So back then I was saying that, okay, in my university, it was 10 courses, at least 10 courses per semester. And that again seemed not to be the only case with my university. Christy Little C also said that her university back then in China also had 10 courses at least for one semester, right? And then I also saw people come in here, lots of people in here, I'm pretty sure from the Western education system were sharing with us, saying that in the West system usually is 4 to 5 courses. Unless it's talented people like Louis the Cat, who can have this ability to pick 6 courses and even 4 courses during summer semester. Like you're an exception, so we're not talking about your case, okay? You're too genius, too talented. So when I attended my university, when I attended this exchange program, my second term required 7 classes per terms in first year in Canada. Wow, 7 classes. Okay, I'm not so sure about Canadian school. Okay, so when I actually just did an exchange program in UT Austin, the teacher there said that you're only supposed to pick 4 to 5 courses. And I was like, no, I'm going to pick 10 courses. So there was one problem, which is that, well, if I only take 4 or 5 courses for that semester in the US, that means that only I can just change 4 or 5 courses GPA back to my university years in Shanghai, right? So if I come back from that exchange program, that means for the very next semesters in Shanghai Jiao Tong University, then I'll have to select more courses than others to make sure that I make up all those kind of courses I was missing during this exchange program. Do you guys understand that? Do you guys understand that? For wealthy families and elite unis in China. Oh, what are you talking about? Probably talk more about West elite education has become much more exclusive for wealthy families and elite unis in China. Let me see the question again. Talk more about West elite education has become much more exclusive for a wealthy family than elite unis in China. Oh, okay, sure. That is a very good topic. Cookworth, got it, got it. Yeah, can definitely talk about that. But let me finish this topic first. I will switch to your topic. Okay, that is definitely considered to be a very, very good subtopic. We'll discuss about that later. Okay, after I finish this. So I was saying that in terms of the number of courses here in the East, way more courses. So that's why, like, when I was suggested by the teacher in the West that, oh, you're only supposed to pick 4 to 5 courses for one semester, I was like, no way. I mean, I want to pick 10 courses. And they were saying that for sure you're not able to have 10 courses. Like, nobody does that. So I was so glad that I followed the teacher's advice and only picked 5 courses. So for my other friends, they only picked 4. Okay. So they played it conservatively and I picked 5. And that 5 courses compared to the 10 courses I study, we are talking about this amount of schoolwork and how much efforts you need to put into studying. The 5 courses I put to studying is actually way, 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 way more than the 10 courses. So let's say about this. Okay, if you are gonna spend this amount of time, this we're just gonna make it very easy to understand. So if this is the amount of time of efforts I need to spend back then in my Shanghai Jiao Tong University years on schoolwork, then to study 10 courses and reach a A-level GPA, okay, to reach an A-level GPA. When I study only 4 or 5 courses back then in where in UT Austin for one semester, this is the amount of efforts and time I need to spend on studying. I need to spend on studying. And also, not to mention, because also back then in my university years in Shanghai Jiao Tong University, I also need to spend some extra time doing some extracurricular kind of work, right? I also have some student union kind of jobs to do, and also a lot of other like volunteering kind of things to do, right? And inside the Western, inside that exchange program, since I'm only an exchange student, right? So as an exchange student, you do not need to attend those extracurricular kind of activities, only for fun. But you are not obligated, or you don't need to sign up something and just keep on attending it. You could just attend for once or twice. That is more relaxing. And somehow, like attend less of those extracurricular kind of work there in UT Austin. I attend quite some in Shanghai Jiao University, which means that I actually have way more time to study in, you know, in UT Austin compared to the kind of time I have for my education back then in Shanghai Jiao University. Still, it was like way, way harder than there. So the reason why they suggest you to only pick 4 to 5 courses because they want you to be very focused on the kind of I'm very surprised by that comparison, right, Mark? Yeah, so they want you to be very focused on different subjects. So I also figured one thing, which is after I study, I also share this story. I'm going to share this story again. So I attend this exchange program during my junior year, the third year. Okay, during my third year in university. So when I did my first year, freshman year, and sophomore year in Shanghai Jiao Tong University, I was pretty easy. I don't consider the studying to be that hard. I basically was able to spend some time studying and also some other time on extracurricular kind of work, and also scored pretty decent in the exams and got a pretty high GPA. And so in my fresh year and also fresh year and sophomore year, I studied basic accounting, okay, which is the level 1 accounting. So that is why when I did this exchange program in the third year, in the junior year in UT Austin, definitely I'm supposed to study intermediate accounting, right? The level 2 accounting. So that when I return back to my university, to my university in Shanghai Jiao Tong University, I'm supposed to study advanced accounting. So if I study all the entire system back then in my Shanghai Jiao Tong University, which means that in my sophomore year I study inter the level 1 accounting, right? And then in my junior year, I'm going to study intermediate accounting. And then in my fourth year, I'm going to study in my senior year, I'm going to study the advanced accounting. So since I'm doing this exchange program during my junior year in UT Austin, so that's why I study intermediate accounting there. So what happened is when I just signed up for the intermediate accounting there in UT Austin, the teacher there was actually, have no clue what's my foundation. What are the things that I learned back then in Shanghai Jiao Tong University? I thought, okay, whatever I learned back then in Shanghai Jiao Tong University, I learned the level 1 accounting was supposed to be enough for me to study the level 2 accounting in UT Austin. However, I discovered immediately the moment we started the semester, started learning intermediate accounting, I noticed that there is a huge, huge gap between our intermediate accounting and their intermediate accounting. So our intermediate accounting only teaches students to up to this level, but their first level accounting has already taught students up to this level. So when they started intermediate accounting, they start from here. Okay, they start from here. So there is a huge gap in between. So I haven't really learned this part, but I have to really jump in here to study intermediate accounting from this level. And the gap, I tell you, is not a little, it's actually a very big gap. It's actually a very big gap. So if this is a small gap, so majority of the thing the teacher is actually teaching in school should supposed to be, something you could at least understand, right? The kind of feeling I had back then when I was in UT Austin studying their intermediate accounting, I still remember it was like I basically could not understand a thing that the teacher is teaching. 我当时去上那个他们的中级会计的时候，我的整体的感觉就像在听天书，我真的什么都听不懂，我真的一点点都听不懂，你知道吗？它当中的进度落后非常的多，就不是说只是一点点。It was actually a huge amount. I couldn't really understand a single thing the teacher was teaching. So I was almost felt like crying. Right? I was like 21 years old. I was they're like pretty young and I was not so prepared for that. And also I shared with you guys back in Shanghai Jiao Tong University, I was considered to be also a pretty good student, right? The top student was able to reach A level, like A level in terms of GPA. Just so you guys know, back then in our junior years, there were so many different exchange programs. There were exchange programs to the US and UT Austin. There were also exchange programs to Germany, to Canada, to other countries and other universities. But somehow the UT Austin one, the US one, is considered to be most competitive. Only the top students, the best students, could actually attend the exchange program to the UT Austin. So I was actually picked. I was definitely considered to be the top students that was picked to attend this exchange program in the UT Austin. So I never ever imagined that there would be things like this where I came to that university, I attended their class, and I was clueless about what the teacher was talking about. And it was not about English, okay? It was not about English. Because back then, the teacher they're teaching this intermediate accounting is actually a Chinese. 当时教这个中级会计的是一个中国老师，so the kind of English she uses is relatively simple, and also she has a Chinese accent. I can definitely pick up. So that is why that English is not a problem. It's literally the kind of thing she's teaching I do not understand at all. So right after the class, so they have those kind of teacher session. So you could actually go see the teacher. So every week after the class, so there will be some teacher, some professor session. You could just go find the professor and ask him or her questions about schoolwork, something like that. So I basically just went to see this teacher, and I said that I'm sorry that I couldn't really understand what you're teaching in there. So I basically just confessed to her what's going on in here, and why I couldn't understand the thing you're talking about. What is your suggestion on this? Chinese students come to Canada, find math very easy. Canada, Australia is a different case. A lot of people say that Canada, Australia, the education there, even in their best school, is very easy for Chinese students. Lots of people say that, even though it's University of Toronto or University of Sydney. So these are considered to be the top university in those two countries. But many Chinese students, at least from elite school, when they're basically said that it's so easy. However, when it comes to US and come to UK, it's a different story. It's a completely different story when it comes to the US and UK. So I'm right now talking about the US, okay? I'm talking about elite education in the US, okay? So it was like, I'm so frustrated. So I just told this teacher about that and asked her for a suggestion. So you guys guess what kind of suggestion she gave me? Guess what kind of suggestion she gave me? You guys want to know what suggestion she gave me? Okay, we need more interaction. Type a smiley face in the comment area if you want to know what's your suggestion in the comment area. Oh, someone said USA is easy. Tell me which university you went to. Okay, tell me which university you went to. USA is easy. It really depends on which university you go to. Which university you go to. If you go to those elite university, I'm talking about elite university, then it's never easy. Yeah, unless you are like extremely genius, you're like top 1% of the entire population, with like extremely high IQ. Otherwise, for the rest people, definitely not easy. Definitely not easy. I do not agree with that. Okay. Yeah. So type a smiley face. You want to know what kind of suggestion the teacher gave me. Okay. Type a smiley face. We need more interaction. Okay. I did last year high school in UK, and my Canada uni first year. Math was easier. Exactly. Yeah, Louis the Cat, you agree with me, right? Canada, Australia, even though they also belong to the Western education system, they are somehow very different from the UK and also US education system. Yeah. Okay, great. I see. 该不会是回炉再造吧？确实是，你的这个词用的非常的好哈，真的是用的非常的好。Yeah. So the kind of suggestion the teacher gave me, okay, was that you probably want to just go back select this level 1 accounting during this exchange program. So she suggests me of, instead of studying intermediate accounting, just go back to select the very entry level accounting during this exchange program. So that's her suggestion. Okay. I know that is a very good suggestion since you do not find it easy. You find like it is very hard that you do not understand there's a huge gap between in here and there. Maybe you want to do one thing, which is, just go study this entry level accounting. 从基础学起，对。I was so shocked. And I couldn't definitely do that. The reason behind that, as you guys can tell, is because I was doing exchange program. So if I am actually not studying, if I really followed her advice and selected entry level accounting for this exchange program, that would mean that when I go back from this exchange program back to Shanghai Jiaozhong University to my own university, for my next year, I have to learn both intermediate accounting and advanced accounting in one semester, in one term. That is not possible, right? That is not possible because I have to, just learn both courses. They're compulsory in my major. If I do not do that, then I cannot really graduate. That makes sense, right? Because all the courses I select during my exchange program, the GPA I got from that university will be then, transferred to the GPA back then in my university. So if I do not pick the very same courses, even though the kind of thing they're teaching are very different, but the name somehow is very similar, then that is how they're able to transfer. If I select entry level accounting, then the name is not the same. Then somehow the entry level accounting can only be transferred to my entry level accounting's GPA, which I've already taken here in Shanghai Jiaozhong University. So then that means that in the very next semester, or in my senior year and last year, I have to study both in intermediate accounting and also advanced accounting in the very same year. And that is going to be very tough for me. Yeah. So, but Chinese students are hardworking and you're a fast learner, you must catch up. Exactly. So that is exactly what I did back then. So I just went to the library and borrowed a book of entry level accounting. So for that one semester, I was basically studying fresh level, the entry level accounting myself, and also trying to catch up the intermediate accounting at the very same time. It was really tough. I was studying in the number one accounting university there in the US. So compared to other schools' accounting, this school's accounting was particularly good. Or in another term, particularly difficult, particularly difficult. So for those of you, is there anyone who also studied accounting in university? Is there any other accounting major students here? Yeah, tell me in the comment. Okay, just raise a hand. Okay, raise a hand if we have any accounting major friend in here. Okay, just raise a hand if we have any accounting major friend in here. Yeah, so somehow I was a fast learner, so also one of the kind of advantage I have. So one of the good thing about myself is I did associates in accounting. Okay, that's my good to know. So if you have actually learned accounting, so one of the very difficult kind of thing, one of the hardest thing to do is how to say 这个打平那个账, how to do those kind of book entries to make sure everything is balanced and there's no extra left. Right, so right now, like 你也是会计毕业的 Lina, 对吧? If you guys like who have studied accounting, you guys know that nowadays in the modern accounting world, they do those double book entry, right? You have like two on the balance sheet. You have the asset side and also the liability side. So whatever you have an entry on the asset side, you have also do an entry on the liability side. So eventually, at the end of the day, the asset side and also the liability side, all the data must match. Debits and credits, etc., etc. Exactly, Desma, right? So that is actually pretty hard, especially for university students, because you just somehow fail to do the right entry, and somehow at the end of the day, you have more assets than your liabilities. That doesn't really match. So that is very funny. But back then, I do not know anything. I do not even know what is entry. So I was like really puzzled. I was completely confused when I saw on the very first day, like she started to write on the board about this debit and credit entry that I haven't really seen for a single time for my entire life, because in our entry level accounting, we never study anything of that. So that's why for that one, yeah, receivables and payables and equity, yeah, many of you guys know a lot about accounting. Great. Okay. And guys, for those of you who haven't followed me, don't forget to follow me. Okay. For those of you who haven't followed me, don't forget to follow me. Yeah, so I was saying that I was actually yeah, profit and loss. Yeah, you guys know a lot of that. Yeah. So I know how you felt, Sonia. You know that, right? My mom is a chartered accountant, and she taught me when I was little. Ooh, you are so talented. 啊，我是厦大会计系的，也很厉害，也很厉害啊。Yeah, so also like back then I was like really studying extremely hard, because somehow I haven't really studied entry level accounting. I do not know anything about those entry journal, right? I have to learn those debit credit thing. At the very same time, the teacher was already teaching those intermediate level, like how to do those fancy complicated kind of accounting thing during that semester. So I was studying so hard for that one semester, and eventually I was able to catch up and also become a top student. Okay, in there I was supposed to be the one who's in the bottom, because on the day one I know nothing about it, but I was studying so hard. So that's why, like, within one semester, at the end of the semester, I was definitely one of the top students and there in the class when it comes to exam scores. Okay, and then when I returned back from there, from UT Austin, back to my university in Shanghai Jiaotong University. Okay. And when I was in my senior year, I studied advanced accounting. I noticed that lots of the things that we were teaching here in Shanghai Jiaotong University in our advanced accounting was already covered in there, in UT Austin's intermediate accounting, was already covered in their intermediate accounting. So basically, I had a pretty relaxing time studying those advanced accounting, because our advanced accounting was basically pretty much their intermediate accounting. So I was very curious to know. I was very curious to know what are the things they are teaching in their advanced accounting. They must be teaching like way more than our advanced accounting. So that's basically the case. That actually gave me a very strong impression about the gap between academic education quality when it comes to teaching between East and West. Okay, so that's the kind of thing. And also later on, what I did, guys, what I did, I went to continue pursue a master degree in London School of Economics. I went on pursue a master degree in London School of Economics, right? So in London School of Economics, somehow I also picked up a very tough major. So I study in their master degree in finance. So if there is a suggestion I could give to my friends, okay, so it really needs to so if there are friends who are about to attend university, about to apply for a master degree, or like parents who will have their children about to study and higher education. So here's my suggestion. Okay, this is my personal suggestion. Okay, listen, it up to you to decide whether to follow this suggestion or not. So really depend on what you so really depend on what your kid where the kid is planning to do. Okay, so say for example, if the university the student wants to just find a job after graduation, and it's not his or her plan to just keep on, oh, just go to some like to become a scholar, to really focus on study. What matters most is the school. What School actually matters more than the major department, etc. People would also look at the major for sure, but the school actually comes first. The school comes first, and also GPA comes first. You also need to select a major that is relevant to the kind of work that after the student graduate from university, what kind of job he or she wants to do, right? So, for example, for a computer science major student, if he or she wants to participate in a job that is related to programming in those large tech company, then computer science is a pretty good kind of major, right? And also, when it comes to if someone wants to work in the finance industry, then he or she could potentially study finance, accounting, or maths, or physics. These are considered to be the kind of major that is related to finance related kind of jobs. Okay, so you need to find the kind of major that is relevant to the kind of jobs the kids want to get after graduation from the university. However, after that, laugh my ass off. So what major to become a TikTok creator? You don't need any major to become a TikTok creator. Or maybe potentially studying filming, I guess, to be a TikTok creator. That is a funny question. Okay, Joe 10. Yeah, that is a funny question. Yeah, so I was saying that, okay, so the major itself needs to be relevant. Okay, as long as the major is relevant, what matters most is actually the school. And later on, what matters is the GPA. So do not pick whatever is considered to be, the hardest. Actually, oh, that department is supposed to be best, whatever. Because I did that back then in my master degree in my master degree. So back then in my master degree in London School of Economics, there are so many departments that is finance related. You could just study accounting and finance in the accounting department. You could also, like me, study Master of Science in finance in the finance department. And there's also something called Master of Finance in Economics, also that is the MFE program in our department. And you could also study something like financial realistic real estate study. So these are all finance related. By attending any of those kind of major finance related major, you could just get into those top banks. So they are more than enough. As long as you get to this university, you just get into LSE and you pick any of those kind of major I just shared with you guys. Okay, that is already enough for you to apply for those like fancy jobs in those fancy banks. However, among all of them, I picked the most difficult one, which is the Master of Science in Finance. Well, actually, to be honest, Master of Science in Economics is even worse. It's even harder than ours. Master of Science in Finance. Theirs is even harder than ours, but like out of all those finance related majors, so many options, like that is considered to be the most the ours is considered to our departments is considered to be the worst, the most difficult ones, and I picked that. As a result, I have to study extremely hard. So the kind of feeling I have is through my master year, I literally do not sleep at all. Every day just have to just go to sleep at 2 to 3 a.m. and have to wake up 8 a.m. already and study. And also because during our master degree, we also need to find jobs, right? Find internships and also find jobs. So that is why like for that year, like I actually literally just working so hard. However, compared to the students who studied accounting and finance major, so somehow, their major is relatively more relaxing, actually way more relaxing. Lots of students in there and their major, they actually could just go out and traveling a lot. And somehow, eventually, when applying for jobs, we were on the same starting point. We were actually on the same starting point. Also, when I later on started working myself and just start to sit in an employer's seat and looking at all the resumes, I start to tell, well, actually, from my perspective, I do not tell the difference between an accounting and finance major from the accounting department and LSE, and the difference between that and the Master of Science in Finance major in the finance department. As an employer, I do not know the difference between the two, right? I only see, oh, these are all finance related kind of major from LSE, which is a top university. So the students who are able to attend both majors are supposed to be quite good, right? So they will both be qualified to get an interview session, right? And the next is about how they perform in those interview and etc., right? So, however, back then, because my schoolwork is so hard, like I really need to study so hard on the work, right? It's really really hard to study. And then somehow for her major, for my friend who studied accounting and finance, so both of us got into the bank, the very same bank. It's just like we were in different team, but somehow we got into the very same bank, right? And also we were the same year we got into the bank. And after we got into the bank and got to know each other, we realized that, oh, okay, actually we studied in the very same year back then in the university. And somehow like she was studying in the other department and I was studying in this department, and their schoolwork was like way easier than ours. Then the kind of conclusion and the kind of suggestion I wanted to give is that if possible, try to just pick those one that is relatively easier and not to pick one that is so hard. Book smart is only part of the equation, as you say. Exactly. So the thing is that actually, the because the schoolwork is so hard, that means that I have like really less time to prepare for all those kind of interview. So I was saying like it really depends on what you're looking for your education. Okay. Really depend on what you're looking for after the education. So like I said, if the students who actually wanted to just get to work after graduation directly. So the entire 4 years of education needs to plan around how you're able to find your ideal job. So, say for example, if your um, plan is to become a scholar, right, to become a professor in the university, that is the career goal after graduation. Then, for the graduate for the education period, for the 4 years, you need to select whatever is the most hardest. That's going to train your academic skills, right, or your academic um, um, strong understanding, right, on certain subjects, right. So, really depend on what you find, what you want. So for me, for sure, I want a job, a very ideal job after university years. So if that is also something you're looking for, then the suggestion I wanted to give is just don't pick the hardest one. So like for our major, I said like we're the second hardest one, right? There is like the most hardest one, which is the master of finance in master of science in economics, or master of finance in economics. Somehow that program, that master program is supposed to be like harder than ours. For their major, for students in their major, they basically have zero time to look for a job. Their 100% of their time needs to focus on study, because their schoolwork, their academic work is so hard. And like for ours, like ours is so hard as well, but like because we're relatively easier than them, so that's why we still have some tiny amount of time to look for jobs. However, compared to those students who study in accounting and finance major in the accounting department, they have plenty of time. They have plenty of time to study, to just prepare for jobs, etc. So that's the kind of thing that I actually experienced. 让你刷到它是一种缘分。哇哦，No talk，真的谢谢你。LSE grads excel in global business, central banks, and elite finance. Yeah，我都快毕业20年了，偶尔还会做梦考试忘记带计算器什么。丽娜，你太可爱了，看样子当年这个夏大也是没少折磨你啊，夏大也是没少折磨你啊。Okay, guys, follow me, please. If you haven't done so. Okay, follow me, please. If you haven't done so. While I'm having a sip of water, definitely follow me. Okay, check yourself and see if you have followed me or not. After graduation, they will have time to pick the job they want. It's not the case. So so for banks, they would actually just hire freshmen usually for a lot of the jobs. So there is a saying, there is a term here in China that is called 应届生, which means fresh graduate. Fresh graduate. So fresh graduate. So how a lot of large companies treat fresh graduates is very different from how they treat not fresh graduate. Okay. So there's just specific headcounts or specific quota for those universities, for those large banks, to hire those fresh graduates specifically. And those large banks, those large companies, they would also question like why, after you graduate from university, why are you not able to just find a job and start working immediately? So it would actually become harder for you to find a job after graduation. Then during your graduation, you were able to find a job already. And the moment you graduate from university, you could start a job immediately. You could start a job immediately. So that was different. So Mark, that's actually not the case when you say that you could actually just pick up the job you want after graduation. It was not like that. It was super important during your senior year, during your last year, that you were able to just find a job. And then the moment you graduate from the university, you could start a job immediately. Because if you are not able to find a job after graduation, and then somehow after graduating you're still looking for a job, and then later on find a job, it would become like a lot harder. Yeah, you should always pick fresh graduates, easier to train and build what you prefer. Exactly, Desma. So that is why that for those large companies, they have specific quotas, specific headcounts for fresh graduates. So that is easier for fresh graduates to find a job compared to those who have already graduated and then start to look for jobs. Does that make sense, my friend? Does that make sense? Okay, does that make sense? If that makes sense, type one in the comment area. Type one in the comment area if that makes sense. Okay. Yeah. People get hung up on the uni's name. Pick the one that lines up with end goals. Yeah. So uni's name, university name is considered to be the best. Yeah, it to be the most important thing. I also have a friend. Also, I remember. So I have a friend actually. So I know, like for those people here, sitting here and Mark, you're typing too. Okay, you can elaborate more on what you think. Okay, in here. Okay, elaborate more. You're changing back to one. Okay, all right. Yeah, okay, I was saying that what was I saying? What was I saying? Easier to graduate, fresh graduates, right? Oh yeah, I was saying like university is actually the most important thing, right? I said that for I have a friend. So I for those Chinese friends in here in China, you know we have those kind of thing, which is called 一本二本, right? The first graduate undergraduate and the second undergraduate. So for the first level undergraduate, that means that that is considered to be the something like how to say 一本二本. I don't know how to describe that. So usually, so we all know that here in China you have college entrance examination, right? We have university entrance examination. So how which university you can get in depends on how high you score, right? How high you score in your exam. And then so somehow they also do one thing. Okay, so if you reach above this score line, then you're able to get into the this thing we call like first undergraduate. Okay, so first undergraduate is supposed to be the better than second undergraduate level. Okay, undergrad, not graduate, undergrad. Okay, first undergrad and second undergrad. So something like that. Or we call it 一本和二本. Okay, 还有三本. They're also a third undergrad. Okay, so usually all the university in the first undergrad is supposed to be better than the second undergrad and supposed to be better than the third undergrad. And somehow for some university, they also do one thing, in order to somehow just earn money or whatever. They also have some program that is second undergrad, but under the name of this university. So also I have this friend, so who also attended Shanghai Jiao Tong University. Somehow Shanghai Jiao Tong University also have a program for second undergrad. 好像上海交大也有一个就是二本的项目，所以他就去参加了这个交大的这个二本的项目。So like she was not able to score very high during the college entrance examination, so that's why her score was only able to reach the second tier, not the first tier, not the first undergrad. So somehow, instead of selecting those, top or the bottom first year undergrad, so she picked a good school name. She picked Shanghai Jiao Tong University, but attended the second tier undergrad degree. After she graduated, nobody actually checked whether that is first graduate or second undergrad. People only check whether she's from Shanghai Jiao Tong University or not. 就是他其实当时的高考分数线没有考得太好，所以他最后的分数是勉强就是一本末二本出，但是他没有选择一本里边那些差的学校，他直接选了就是交大的一个二本项目。但直接毕业了以后，你在简历上其实写的你就是上海交大的，你只写你是上海交大的，然后你写你是什么专业的，就是你像那些这个 employer they do not know， 他们是不会知道，也不会去分辨，他还会去查一下，哦，你这个是一本是二本，大家看到的就是你是交大毕业的。就是读一个学校的一个好学校的二本，会比读一个相对差一点学校的一本要来的更好。对的，我是他，我才知道交大居然还有二本。是的，我也是知道说交大才有二本的。So 专业好像他也是读了一个什么专业，具体什么专业我忘记了，但是我觉得这是一个非常聪明的一个做法。I think that is actually a very, very smart move. That's a super, super smart move. So she's not able to score very high during the college entrance examination. And somehow, because she picked a very good school, so after she graduated from the university, what kind of school name she wrote on the resume is still Shanghai Jiao Tong University. So somehow, from a employer's perspective, they do not tell the difference between, oh, this one and that one. What they saw is on this resume, what she wrote is Shanghai Jiao Tong University. Oh, okay, that's a pretty good school. Yeah. 读一个好学校的二本肯定是一个好的选择，对，所以我觉得那个是非常聪明的。So the overall thing, like what I was basically saying is that, okay, so going to a good school is the most important thing. If your primary goal is to find a good job afterwards in a large company, because those large company they do value good school, they do value good school. 完全不知道对吧？我也不知道，我是他那个我才知道的。So they do value good school. School name is the most important thing. So definitely just go attend the best school as possible. Major as long as it's relevant to the kind of jobs you want to do after graduation, and that is fine. 只要是和你毕业以后想做的工作是有关联的专业，其实就足够了。It doesn't really matter what kind of major. Oh, so like one of the thing I did back then is I actually just search, oh, what is the top ranking? Oh, okay. So in their ranking, their finance is ranked number one. Their accounting and finance is not ranked number one. So that's why I need to do that. It doesn't really matter. That doesn't really matter. The only thing that matters is like, yeah, 小红薯这个朋友说的非常到，一个好的学校是一个很强的 label. The only thing that matters is the label. 这个 label 是最重要的啊。Mark 有个 question 问你来着。Okay, let me read about Mark's question. What is Mark's question? What's Mark's question? Does university has credit hours? What do you mean by credit hours? What do you mean by credit hours? Like how many hours we need to study for one course? If that is what you are asking, yes. If that is what you're asking, yes. Mark, what is your question? Could you actually please send your question again? I have just scrolled back. I do not see the question. Yeah, 他的问题是啥呀？我没找到他的问题。I couldn't really find Mark's question. Mark, could you actually ask me this question again? Could you ask me this question again? Somehow I couldn't really find your question. Yeah, somehow No Dog is asking me, reminding me about your question. That must be a good question. 我一直觉得读个理工学院的文科专业已经算是另辟蹊径了，没想到还可以读一个交大的二本哈。Yeah, and also, what is Schluck School of Business opinion? I don't understand this question. I don't quite understand it. Yeah, could you elaborate more? Don't quite understand. Yeah. You have ignored your moderator today. Sorry about that. Okay, we'll try to read a bit more about the common area. Okay, read more about the common area. So, Mark, could you please ask this question again? So, friends, also, if anyone of you guys have any questions, just sending the question in here, and I will try my best to read all of them. Yeah. Uh huh. I was saying after CXC or high school is university. Some people pay to get there. Yes. The quick answer to that is yes. Yes. Some university, yes, you could just pay to get there. Yeah. Also, back to this topic. Okay, I was basically saying, wait, what was I talking about just now? Oh yeah, yeah. I was saying that actually the best thing is just go to a best school, a top school, to get a strong label. That is considered to be the most important thing. Okay. And later on, when it coming to picking the major, okay, picking the major, as long as the major is relevant to the kind of job you want to do after graduation, that is fine. You don't need to pick this top one ranking or whatever. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. Trust me. So what I did is back then I picked this number one. So I always did that, like just pick the number one. So for my senior high school years, I said that even though I'm best at chemistry, but I picked physics because somehow the physics class was considered number one. So I did that. So if I really lived my life, I probably would just pick up. I would just probably pick chemistry because that's easier for me. I'm gonna have a more relaxing third year of my you know 12th grade. And also like when it comes to university, also I did that, and also comes to master degree, also did that, right? But somehow, because for my juniors, for my senior high school years, and also for my undergrad degrees, the schoolwork was relatively easy. So even though I picked the one that I'm not most good at, that is still fine. When it comes to the master degree, that one was so hard. Every day you go to the library of LSE, LSE London School of Economics. You go to the library, Loti, and at the bottom of the Xuanzhang Loti, there is an area where there are lots of sandbags just for students to rest a bit. And you will notice lots from time to time, even though those kind of sandbags is so dirty. Like from time to time, you just every time you would notice like there are some students from our major just lying there to take a rest because it was so hard and we're like severely lacking sleep. So we have to just sleep there. We have just to sleep there to take some rest, so that go back to study, the pressure is like it was super intense back then, lying there to take a rest because it was so hard and we're like severely lacking sleep, so we have to just sleep there. 3 years I would definitely apply for accounting and finance major in my master degree years, for my master program rather than master of science in finance because it's way more tougher. Okay, that is so important. Okay, so I know there are lots of parents in here who have their children who probably are pretty young, or like some friends who already have their children about to attend university. That is my sincere suggestion to you. Okay, sincere suggestion you. So also depends on what the students want to have after graduation. Who probably are pretty young, or like some friends who already probably are pretty young, or like some friends who already have their children about to attend university. That is my sincere suggestion to you. Okay, sincere suggestion you. So also depends on what the to prepare for the university year. So share with you. So we can also discuss. Okay, compare another thing. Compare another thing. So we have compared from the academic perspective, right? The second thing we could compare is about the extracurricular kind of work. Okay, extracurricular kind of work. That is also a very interesting thing. So we could first of all compare the admission. The admission. It's very interesting to see that when it comes to admission here in China, it's purely based on score. It's purely based on score. That is considered to be the most efficient and also the fairest, I would say, fairest way of recruiting students, right? Recruiting students. Parents can best just help their kids understand their unique learning style. Exactly. So let's see. Has Mark asked this question? If you don't know, like, sure, that's okay. You answer everything else. What's your question? Did I fail to catch your question again? They have a program in Singapore. What's the program in Singapore? Schulich School of Business has an MBA program. Asking about this program. Oh, I do not know about this program. I do not know about this program at all, unfortunately. So I don't think I can share with you more about that. Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah. 好，刘丽啊，有关注我吗？记得关注我啊，记得关注我。Yeah, guys, follow me, please. You haven't done so. Okay, follow me, please. You haven't done so. Yeah. So I was back to this topic. Now we can actually compare the extracurricular kind of work between these two. Okay. So there's also some trick for Chinese universities. So for back then, I remember in our university in Shanghai Jiao Tong University, they have such thing called 速拓分，有一个东西叫做速拓分的。你们的这个大学里有这个东西吗？叫做速拓分。So that thing can also be added to your GPA. But that thing is the kind of thing that is related to extracurricular kind of work. That is extracurricular kind of related kind of GPA score back then in our university. Something called 速拓分. So, for example, if you attend certain activities, you do certain volunteer. For example, I remember if you donate blood, then you can get some score from this kind of this extracurricular kind of score, which is we call here 速拓分. Or if you do something that you do some other volunteer thing, you can get it. Or also like you do something this, something that, you can get the score. So even though that score is not a lot, but that can actually make a total difference to your GPA score. So that is the kind of trick a lot of people can actually play when they were attending university years in here in China. Not so sure about other university, but here in Shanghai Jiaotong University back then we had that thing called 速拓分. I was actually a very smart person in a sense that I noticed that thing immediately. 我当时一进去我就注意到这个东西，even though the full score is only 2 points, but like if you could add 2 points, it's not a lot, but that can actually make. 如果你比如说你去做了一些这个学校希望你去做的事情，比如说你献血啦，你去做了很多公益活动啦，还有包括你担任了一些，比如说学生会里边的一些重要的职务啦，它都会给你这个速拓分，而且这个分数可以加到 GPA 里边的。Yeah. So one thing I did back then is 要专注一点。好，谢谢你提醒喝水，我喝水了。So one of the first thing I did is I studied that the moment I noticed this thing. So I saw what are the items that can get you the highest score. Then I just go try those kind of items to make sure. So there's no way for me to get the full scores, right? So there's a matrix. Like what are the things you do, you can get how much score. So there are a lot of things. So I actually just picked specifically the kind of things that could actually give me the highest score. Okay. 它里边有很多很多的这个东西都会说，OK，你做了这个事情，它可以拿多少分？我就专门去研究了一下，到底做哪一些事情是可以拿到最高分的。然后 I spent time on that, and then I was able to make sure for that part, that's actually not a very hard score to get, but somehow I was able to, compared to others, some people who did not pay attention to the score at all, I paid attention to that, and also I studied hard, and also I try to study how to just get high score for that. That is actually considered to be some extra bonus, right? So I was able to get some extra bonus from there. So on top of my already pretty high GPA score, so that I was able to get a pretty high like GPA for my entire university years. So yeah, follow me please, my friend. Like No Talk said, I am amazing. Yeah, you guys follow me please, okay? So that is also a little trick. 这个用中文讲一下哈，给中国的宝宝们，就是如果在上大学的宝子们，或者将来有小孩要上大学的，就是其实你真的要让他好好去研究一下这个大学里边的整个 GPA 的体系。如果说你们的大学里边也有像我当时的大学上交大里边是有一个东西叫做速托分的，这个东西其实很重要。这个东西很多人他完全不关注，但是事实上它真的能够让你的 GPA 往上去走。你只要在这个分数上比别人高个零点几分，这个零点几分加到你 GPA 上去，那真的就是起飞了，真的就是起飞了。所以说，反正当时我觉得我脑子，我觉得我身上有很多优点，我脑子很活，所以我当时一看到这个东西，我马上脑子里边就叮一下，我就觉得这个东西是可以涨 GPA 的，所以我就看了一下它在它的这个列表里面有哪些事情是能够拿高分，并且也不需要太难，就不难做就能够拿高分的。我就去做了，所以我当时加上我整体的 GPA 本身也是相对比较高的，然后我的这个分再加上我的原本的就是靠写那个靠专业的那个后来的 GPA 加在一起，我的 GPA 啪一下就上去了，Yeah. So So that's the kind of thing we're talking about extracurriculum. So, however, when it comes to attending the university, right? So here in China, we judge whether students can get into the top university is purely based on their purely based on their university entrance examination, right here in China. So we say that students, if you are able to score high during the college entrance examination, then you're able to get to the top universities. In the Western system, the admission system is very different in the sense that they not only look at your scores, but they also look how you write your personal essay as well as interview. So I remember back then in my years when I was applying for this master degree, right, was applying for a master degree in Western education. I feel Western education that is more outgoing than China. Oh, I agree. I agree. Yeah. So I also need to apply. You write a personal essay. So the personal statement is never about, oh, how hard I studied during my years, how high I was able to score during my exams. It's all about extracurriculum. What are the extracurricular activities you do during your university years? Okay, how are you able to train your skill sets outside exams? So they actually, for the Western education, so those Western elite schools, they pay a lot of attention on those kind of things. So I have also previously seen a sharing by a mom. So she is quite famous KOL here in China 有一个叫 ABCD 妈的，有没有多少人也见过她或者关注过她？有个叫 ABCD 妈的。So somehow she was basically sharing that her eldest son was admitted to one of the top elite senior high school in the US. And also, she shared that even for getting to the elite school in senior high school in the US, they also pay a lot of attention on your extracurricular kind of activities, not only on schoolwork alone. They would actually see, oh, whether you're able to, done a lot of things outside schoolwork as well, something like that. Okay, so that's the university system there, right? So that's why, like, when I back then wrote my personal essay, I wrote a lot of things like, oh, okay, actually, I was the president of student union back then in my university. What are the things I did? What are the skill sets I trained myself? And on top of that, what the other volunteer work I do to demonstrate that I am just more than this. I am actually a lot more than a student with good schoolwork. And that's why afterwards I got admitted to those top universities, right? So after getting into the universities, I also feel that they provide, compared to the Eastern university, the Western university, when it comes to the extracurricular kind of work, um, somehow they provide a lot of support, provide lots of support in that. So from extracurricular kind of perspective, I consider like both to be good in a sense because like both of them are very different. So here in I remember still back then in my years in Shanghai Jiaotong University, so they always say like, oh 什么这个社团水很深，他们那边的水很深，什么这个水很深，那个水很深。Something about like, oh, there are a lot of rules you need to obey in this club, a lot of rules you need to obey in that club, something like that. But one thing we do not have here in our undergrad years is that we do not have what is called serenity. What is called what is word 兄弟会姐妹会 what is the word called? I think that West like stories about overcoming challenges outside school. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Extracurriculars for sure very important in the West, but academics too. Sorority, yeah, sorority and fraternity. Yes, thank you, my friend, for reminding me. Yeah, so here in China, we do not have sorority and fraternity, but in the West, they have the sorority and fraternity, and also like you have to work extremely. You have to do a lot of things, apply for it, like be very hard at something, just overcome certain challenges, etc., to get into those sorority and fraternity. I have no idea about that since I have not attended any undergrad degrees in the West. So I would want to know more. If you guys know, if any one of you have been in sorority or fraternity, it would be great if you guys could share in the comment area with me. I want to know exactly what is fraternity and sorority because we have seen so many movies, right? Showing how sorority and fraternity is like in those movies, but somehow I want to know if that is really true. Is that really true? I remember in the lots of those like movies in American movies, you saw like, oh, okay, in order to get into sorority or fraternity, oh, you have to do this or that, and you have to apply. And somehow they're very picky when it comes to pick new members to join their fraternity and sorority. And also, the moment you join that, there are lots of challenges, right? Something like that. It's more for networking, but yes, lots of parties. Yeah. I want to know, like, is that really true? Like they say, like, oh, for all the new joiners to the sorority, that oh, on the very first night, people will have to just take their clothes off completely and stand in the snow for like how many hours, and they would do this and that, etc., something like that. Okay. 40岁老阿姨想问问，到底怎么练好口语啊？怎么能够把自己当做是老阿姨呢？永远年轻哈，有一个年轻的心态，永远都年轻。多听多练，多听多练，还是那一句话，就是多听多练，一定要勇于开口。之前有另外一个博主 share 了一个非常好的练口语的办法，我自己也非常认同哈，就是你可以就是看一个电影，英文的电影，然后它里边比如说有字幕的嘛，你可以看着他讲的每一句话，你就不停的跟着他一起重复，你跟着他一起在演这部电影，你跟着他一起不停的讲话，模仿他的讲话，这是一个非常好的练口语的方式。OK，I have friends but not me. Hazing, yeah. I'm curious about sorority and fraternity. Yeah, you're curious about it too, no doubt, right? I'm so curious about it. Wait, is there anyone in this live stream room, my American friends? Is there anyone here that you have actually attended sorority and for fraternity? I actually am so curious to know how those like fraternity and also sorority works. Like is that really the case like what we see in those American movies that you have to be really hard at something, like you like really spend time on something to prove that you are qualified to be accepted into those sorority and fraternity. I never wanted to join a sorority because what I saw on TV or movies. Yeah, so I'm so curious. Is it really true that what I saw on TV or movies is actually true when it comes to sorority fraternity? It's like DD parties. Really? Forbidden practice and knowledge, especially with dumb people. Really? Oh, someone said like sorority is like DD's parties. Oh my god, is it really true? Is that really true? Oh my god, really? Yeah, what you saw is true. Oh, okay. We call it hazing, making freshmen do all crazy things for membership. Oh, so that is called hazing. Oh, so that's why I have no idea why you say hazing, because I do not know this word hazing. Someone died in initiation. Oh my god, really, really? Oh my god, so what we see on movie about those kinds of sorority and fraternity is actually true. My goodness, my goodness. Yeah, so a lot of people are saying, well, what I saw is actually true. Well, that is called hazing, right? Okay, learn a new English word today. Okay, yikes. Okay, interesting to know that. Yeah. So here in China, we do not have it and things like that. And also it's so interesting that Western world, like they party so much, they party so hard in the Eastern world, in the Eastern elite school, for example, in my university back then, people do not have those habit of partying. At least for my years. I'm not so sure about nowadays in the university, but back then in my years, universities in Shanghai Jiaotong University do not party at all. They do not party at all. It was so funny that it was in my senior year that I went to UT Austin. I realized, okay, people there, they party a lot. And also like in the US, they have this law, right? People can only start drinking alcohol from the age of 21 years old. It is illegal for people to drink alcohol below the age of 21, and somehow Americans really like drinking alcohol, so a lot of students will secretly drink alcohol before the age of 21. So as long the moment students got into the university years, they just started drinking, right? Just got fake ID to get alcohol and started drinking. 你发音太用力了，是因为我要讲慢一点啊，黑默默，这个太难了，太难了。我也可以不用力的讲，但是不用力的讲就要讲的语速快了，又会有人说啊，你讲太快，讲慢一点，真的很难啊，黑默默，真的很难。我要是正常语速讲话，就不会发音这么用力了，很难的。所以要关注我，其实不容易的。There are more mild groups that accept both genders. Okay, Yeah, so I was saying that okay, also was pretty funny that back then in university years there, right? I was studying in UT Austin during my junior year for an exchange program. I noticed a lot of people there actually party so hard, and also they started drinking in those kind of parties. And somehow it was so funny that when I returned back to Shanghai Jiaotong University, so for this entire semester, I was exposed to the kind of environment where everyone just party and drink a lot alcohol during those university years. Somehow, freshman and sophomore year, maybe junior, senior, no time to party. Yeah, so I was basically, I'm not so sure whether these people are from freshman, sophomore years, whatever, but somehow like I noticed there are a lot of parties during my exchange program. I didn't go to them because I do not have time, right? I said, I was basically spent all the time studying, right? It was so hard. The schoolwork was so hard, but I know because other people told me, the kind of friends I made there told me that there were lots of parties and people drink lots of alcohol during those parties. So that's why that I was really used to the kind of environment, and somehow the kind of impression I had is whenever you party, you're supposed to drink alcohol. And also, it is pretty okay for university students to drink alcohol. And somehow, because I was a kind of good girl, and somehow, like in my mind, I would consider like drinking alcohol to be something quite cool. Okay, so that's why the moment I came back from UT Austin and back to Shanghai Jiaotong University, and they also had something like a party, something like that. And the kind of thing they do is never like the kind of thing they do partying in the West. And also the kind of drinks they drink during the party here in Shanghai Jiaotong University is actually Sprite. It's actually Sprite. It's not alcohol at all. It's pretty funny. Some families allow underage drinking to prepare for college. Oh, really? Yeah. So drinking here in China is not a big deal as well. It's not a big deal here as well. So a lot of young people also would have a little sip of drinking even before the age of 20. Yeah, before the age of 20. Yeah. So there's also no like very, very strict rules about underage teenagers eating, drinking. So like here in a lot of families, especially in the north, during especially for example Chinese Spring Festival, I remember. So some of families would also allow their teenager members, especially male teenager family members, to drink some alcohol. And during Spring Festival, that is considered to be fine. Drinking boba tea is also a good opinion. Don't have to drink alcohol all the time. Yeah，啥真没听说过。就是其实我觉得中国这边对于敬酒好像没有这么严重了，没有这么严重。No pijo or baijiu? What? No pijo or baijiu? No, in our spring festival, they drink pijo or baijiu, beers or baijiu here in China, and also sometimes they would also allow teenagers to, have a sip of it as well. For spring festival, it's not like oh you can just drink it daily. Okay, it's usually just during those special festival. 啊，你说上学前练喝酒没听说过对吧？练喝酒这个我也没有听说过，我也是听说。但是就是比如说家里边啊，长辈很开心说好，你也喝一小杯吧，这种也是 OK 的。Just a sip of it, right? Just a sip of it. Yeah, Christy. Yeah, you probably also allow your son to have a sip of alcohol as well, right? Especially during those big happy festival, right? Yeah, so. Somehow that's like also something quite different. Yeah, and also, oh, I forgot to answer this question. We have only 10 minutes to go. So I'm going to use the last 10 minutes to answer this question, which is an extremely good question raised by someone. Is it Mark or someone? I forgot. Raised by someone who was asking me, okay, how do you see about the phenomenon or like, how do you think about that? Right now, those elite schools in the West is opened to more wealthy families compared to the kind of schools here in China. So that is sort of true in a sense that okay, we can actually elaborate a lot more. So if we cannot elaborate, answer this question in time, we're gonna continue discussing about that in tomorrow's session. Okay. So that is a very good question. I'm gonna repeat that question again. So the question is about the question is about like so how do you see right now a lot of the elite school in the West is actually recruiting more students from wealthy families compared to the kind of elite school here in China. Okay, in Chinese it means that something like 你怎么看待现在在西方很多精英大学已经开始越多的招有钱人家的孩子啊？相比中国的话，他们更多的去招有钱人家的孩子。That was not you, someone else. Yeah. How do you guys think about? How do you think about this this phenomenon? So first of all, I feel like it is true. We have also discussed before in our live stream multiple times about this wealth gap that's happening, especially in a country like US. Okay, so first of all, like the first reason behind that is you see that the tuition fee. I have mentioned multiple times that the tuition fee of those Ivy League school, of those extremely good school, is, oh my god, crazily high, crazily high. Like we have said it before that for those Ivy League school, the average annual tuition fee is 80,000 US dollars. Okay, and that is for local students. That is not for international students. If you're talking about international students, then the tuition fee is way more than 80,000 US dollars, right? Way more than 80,000 US dollars for a year. 80,000 US dollars, if we gonna transfer that into renminbi, that is gonna be 756，要将近60万人民币一年的学费。Okay, that is the kind of tuition fee you need to pay to attend those extremely good school like MIT, Princeton, those Ivy League school in the US. That is definitely not affordable to some ordinary families. So that is why that only the very wealthy family can send their kids to attend university like that in the US. So that is one of the key reasons behind why nowadays you start to see a lot more wealthy families, students from more wealthy families in the US, that are able to. So that is why, okay, I'm gonna re-elaborate that. That is one of the very key reasons why you start to see it for those elite schools that the students, the proportion of the students from wealthy families have become significantly higher than students from ordinary family, or from poor family. Right, you have to be extremely excellent to apply for scholarship and get scholarship in order to be able to afford the tuition fee to study in those top universities, right? Yeah. So same happens to many other things, right? If the Ivy League school is like that, you're also talking about some other stuff, right? So I also was talking about, so there is a very famous KOL here in China's social media that is called ABCD Ma. 大家有没有见过 ABCD 吗？ So like she's like the third generation, right? She's super super rich. Well, first of all, I admire her way to educate her children. 我看过 ABC 的妈的这个内容，我其实挺喜欢的。我觉得她怎样教育小孩的理念是非常好的哈。首先是给予肯定，非常好的，很认同。But the thing is that there are lots of money that needs to be burnt to have an education system of hers to educate her children. So she has altogether 4 children. And also, I think the kind of path she designed for her children to get into those elite school is like, okay, so first of all, academically, I want you to be very excellent. You have to score like very high GPAs in different subjects. And on top of that, she also designed so many things. Yeah, she was graduate from Harvard herself as well. She know how those Ivy League schools, how she knows exactly what the rules behind those Ivy League school. So that's why you notice that she would actually send her children to attend extraordinary amount of extracurricular activities, right? So like swimming, right? So you notice that 他2个儿子都是这个哇上好多游泳课，然后还有上那个骑自行车，对吧？Cycling, swimming, and for their daughters, and lots of also dancing class, etc. Lots of extracurricular. And also, she also did something which is encourage her children to start doing some entrepreneurial startup kind of trials, right? 他也鼓励他的小孩去做一些创业的事业，比如他的小孩开始去卖化妆品，适合 teenager 的一些化妆品啊等等之类的，something like that. So to be honest, like, well, first of all, I really, really like this style of education. I consider that to be a very good education style. So having said that, we all have to agree that you have to have enough money to allow your children to be trained like that, right? So every year she would actually send her kids to attend those kind of swimming competition across the globe. 参加中在全球各地的铁人三项赛，对吧？ So the flight ticket alone, the hotel expense alone is not a little, right? That is actually a lot. So really, in order to cultivate a children to be very well rounded, like, oh, actually have a lot of skills outside of schoolwork, just train like this, someone called ABCD ma. That is not easy. Okay, you have to have a very strong financial foundation in order to train your kids, educate your kids just like that, right? So if you are born in a family like that with a mom like that, right? The mom itself herself actually graduated from Harvard University. Oh, and also your mom has a lot of money to burn to train you, to cultivate you to be so well-rounded, not only be good at schoolwork, but also have some a lot of training on other stuff. 呀，游泳、跑步、骑车，对的，他的这个儿子就是一直都在训练游泳、跑步、骑车，然后每年好像还去，我看他的这个 vlog 里边还去参加很多全球的各种比赛，非常花钱，这些都是好花钱的，真的。However, when it comes to university, right? So for those university um, kind of a committee, a mission committee, right? When they are reading the resumes, the personal statement, and reading the background of all the students applying for their university, compared to a student like myself, right, who's only attended a university here in China, and also, well, even though I had some extracurricular activities, but not that much, right? Like someone with some minor extracurricular, but compare that this resume with this resume, right? Oh, okay, a student who has done like how do you say 铁人三项赛? How do you say 铁人三项赛? Yeah, 一辆公路车就要10几万了。对的，是的。铁人三项赛怎么 How do you say 铁人三项赛, my friend? Anyone help me with that. Find this word, 铁人三项赛. That is also an Olympic competition. So inside 铁人三项赛, you have to do swimming, cycling, and running. What is that? The word trenthaler. Is that trenthaler? Okay, so whatever trenthaler. Okay, if that is the right word, yeah, so that's a kind of thing. Okay, so that's a kind of thing like you have to. So if they are the university admission committee is looking at a resume that a student has done trenthaler. Okay, not sure. Okay, whatever. So those kind of thing like running, swimming, and cycling. Okay, that thing before, and also the person has also had a startup experience during her teenager, his or her teenage, yeah, triathlon. Okay, yeah. So okay, triathlon. Okay, you guys are telling me triathlon. Yeah, thank you, my friend. Yeah, so okay, someone who has done triathlon competition across the globe before. Oh, and also someone who has startup on experience before during the teenager years, right? And also who has good school works. Someone who has attended international schools. All the items I just listed burns lots of money, burns a lot of money. But from a university admission perspective, committee's perspective, when they're looking at this resume and they look at my resume, right? They're not judging, oh, whether this person's from a wealthy family or not from a wealthy family. Just by looking at the resume itself, this one definitely stands out more than this one, right? So naturally, by this kind of selection, you know, it just means one thing, like wealthy family has more resources to cultivate their children in a very well-rounded manner compared to students from like mediocre families. So that is why, like as a result, nowadays you will notice like more and more elite schools start to hire more students from those wealthy families, right? Because wealthy family have those money and those resources to cultivate their students in a way that only those elite school likes, right? So that is going on, what's going on there, right? And also on top of that, what happens later on is as a result, students from with wealthier family then have a higher chance of getting a good school degree, and also later on have a better chance of getting a good job, right? So that is how the entire thing works. Yeah, the ones I went to school with weren't well-rounded, more stuck up. Triathlon. Yeah, thank you, Christy. Yeah, triathlon. Yeah, learning a new word today as well, right? It's just a natural consequence, and as a result of that, you start to see a big wealth gap between, right? So the wealthy family are able to train their students in a very well-rounded way in a very Ivy League school preferred way, and somehow their students are able to get into those top elite school easier than others. And once they get into the elite school, and somehow they're able to get into big fancy jobs better than others, easier than others. So as a result, if you're born in a family relatively wealthier family, that is how you're able to just become even wealthier. So the wealth gap becomes bigger and bigger. So that is kind of thing that's happening there in the West. And there are a lot of things we can keep on discussing. So we'll continue this topic tomorrow. Okay. So for those of you who are in here, don't forget to follow me. Okay. And don't forget to follow me. It's 9:30. So my live stream is usually from 7:30 to 9:30, which is 2 hours before now till now. Okay. It was 2 hours before now to now. So it is 9:30. It's time for me to stop this live stream. And so happy to see every one of you in here. And for those of you who haven't followed me, don't forget to follow me. And also for those of you who haven't joined our families, this is our family. Okay, don't forget to join in here. Okay, and I look forward to seeing you guys again tomorrow. Okay, I look forward to seeing you guys again tomorrow. Yeah, and don't forget to follow me. Okay, bye bye.